The movie starts in 1956. We see a terrified priest rushing into a church, carrying a kid with a birthmark. But this wasn't just any birthmark. It was a devil's mark, meaning the kid might turn evil and cause all sorts of destruction when he grows up. The priest, scared and begging God for forgiveness, tries to kill the child. But then the police show up and stop him. But the priest tells the police, "Don't stop me. You have no idea what could happen." Still, the police shoot him, scared he might harm the child right then and there. Luckily, the child is saved. Then the movie jumps ahead 30 years, and we meet the main guy, Marek. Now, Marek's pretending to be a priest, but actually he's an undercover cop. He's investigating the disappearance of 7 girls, and to do that, he has to go undercover in a church. The police know those girls were last seen entering that church, but they'd been missing ever since. Since the church was their place of worship, they didn't want to cause a scene by involving the police. So, they sent Marek in undercover. Once inside, Marek meets Father Andre, who gives him a tour of the whole church. Father Andre also shows Marek his room and warns him, "Don't leave your room at midnight, not even by mistake. If you do, you're on your own for whatever happens." Marek goes in and immediately starts feeling like something's off about the place. There was no electricity here, and no cell signal either. This place was totally cut off from the outside world. Ignoring all that was running through his head, Marek decides to freshen up. As soon as he takes off his shirt, we get a big shock. Marek is actually the same kid the police rescued from the priest at the start of the movie. The devilish mark is burned into his skin, but he still doesn't realize what's really going on. After that, Marek pulls some files, a camera, and a gun out of his secret suitcase. These files had all the personal info on the 7 girls who went missing after coming to this church. Marek was here on a serious mission. Not only did he have to find those girls, but he also needed to figure out what these people were really up to. After a while, Marek was called for dinner, and he saw they were served some really weird food. It smelled awful. There was a strange, sticky liquid in it. It looked like some kind of meat, but he'd never eaten anything like it before. The meat was rubbery, and as he ate it, he started to throw up. But he kept a straight face, trying to act normal like everyone else. After that, Marek set off on his mission. He walked through the whole church and came down a hallway where he saw a girl on the other side. She looked crazy. There was a priest with her. Later, Marek and all the new priests were called over and told that this church performs exorcisms on people possessed by demons. According to the priests, the crazy girl Marek saw earlier was possessed by a demon. They needed to do an exorcism to help her. Priest Andre took Marek to a room where he was about to perform the exorcism. The girl was tied to the bed, and there were lots of candles lit around. As they got closer, the girl started acting weird. Her voice changed and sounded terrifying. The bed began shaking, and a strange silence filled the room. One of the priests was even recording everything. When Marek asked him why he was recording, he replied, "He says we need to update our main church about what's going on here." Finally, the exorcism begins. A priest starts chanting some prayers, and suddenly, the crucifix in his hand bursts into flames. But he stays calm and keeps going, controlling himself. The girl starts thrashing around even more, and after a while, she collapses. Everyone knows the exorcism is over, and the demon that had possessed her is gone. Whatever Marek saw at that moment really shook him up. He had never heard of anything like this before. Now, weird stuff started happening to him inside the church. Whenever he went to his room and touched his mirror, it would crack, and he'd hear creepy noises coming from behind it. He also began feeling this strange connection to the church. Still, Marek brushed off these thoughts and told himself he was here for a reason. But he couldn't focus on his mission because everyone's routine in this church was just too mysterious. The next day, the same disgusting food was served to everyone, including Marek. Marek managed to eat it somehow, but the new priest who had just arrived couldn't eat it and started crying. Before he left the food and walked away, the priest standing behind him whispered something in his ear, and after that, the boy quietly ate the food again. After eating, when Marek went to his room, he actually threw up. He was also dealing with a bad toothache. When he tried to feel his tooth with his hand, his tooth ended up in his hand, and when he pulled it out and looked at it, a bug suddenly crawled out and flew away. That freaked Marek out big time, but now he was totally sure something was wrong with the food here. Anyway, night falls, and Marek sets off on his mission. The priest goes to Andrei's room and finds a hidden compartment. There was nothing religious or worship-related in it. Instead, there was a bunch of alcohol and some DVDs with weird videos. Also, there were videos of the exorcisms these people used to film. When Marek watches them, he realizes the videos aren't real. They're just staged acts. These fake videos were made to trick people. This is where the secret comes out. These guys aren't real priests. Then Marek goes back to the same room where the exorcism happened. He figures out that the crucifix that caught fire was actually a lighter, and the fire was started that day by pressing a hidden button. They also installed a vibrator under the bed that was shaking. The weird noises in the room were just a tape recording. And as for the girl, she wasn't faking. It was these people who drugged her with some strange stuff, which made her act that way. Marek also got injected with the same drug from under the bed. So the next morning comes around. These people gather at the church like they always do. They all have to pray there. Today, it was Marek's turn. Marek starts the prayer in English, but everyone asks him to say it in Latin instead. Then, they read something else instead of prayers and push him aside. They're served the same disgusting meat he vomited the first time he tried to eat it. Today, he finally gets that this church isn't normal. It's a scam, and he feels like his life might be at risk here. That's why he burns all the files, so there's proof he came here to investigate something. He gets ready to take off with his gun and camera. Before leaving, he sees some priests digging a grave. It's the grave of the girl they did a fake exorcism on just the day before. Seeing this makes Marek pause, and he decides he's going to get to the bottom of all this. He heads back to the place where those crazy people were kept. A priest tells him everyone here knows Marek's come to investigate. This priest tells him, "I've heard you're planning to escape from here now, but running away isn't that easy. I was fooled by their lies, just like you, and I tried many times to get away, but I've never succeeded." When Marek realizes this man understands him and feels for him, he opens up and tells him everything. He says, "I'm a Polish police agent. I came here because 7 girls have gone missing from this place. One of them was the girl whose exorcism you all did right in front of me, and ended up killing her." The priest also tells Marek the truth. All these exorcisms are fake and just done for money. They're actually staged for a TV show that brings in a lot of funding for this place. Marek feels really sad hearing this. He tells the priest that if he helps him solve the case, he'll get him out of here too. The priest doesn't say anything, and Marek keeps digging into the investigation. As soon as night falls, he heads down to the basement. The place freaks him out because it's full of human skeletons. There are also a bunch of human teeth scattered around, probably from people killed by members of this church. On top of that, there's an eyeball lying there, still alive and moving. Terrified, Marek drops it to the side, and it bursts, blood splattering everywhere. Seeing this creepy, messed up scene, Marek starts throwing up, and you can see bugs and flies crawling in his vomit. After that, Marek leaves and goes back out to the graveyard. He went to where they'd buried that girl. He dug up the grave, but there was no one there. He was shocked. He'd just seen them bury her right in front of him. So where had she disappeared to? before he could react, a man sneaked up from behind, covered his face, and knocked him out. When he woke up, he was tied to a bed, and the same man who'd knocked him out was standing in front of him. Then Priest Andre showed up, bringing him some food. The food was the same, just served in 4 different bowls. He pushed Marek to eat it, but Marek refused and asked what it was. They didn't say a word about the food, just kept forcing him to eat. Marek still refused and ended up throwing it away. So Father Andre got mad and knocked him out again. When he woke up, he was tied to the bed once more. He noticed the guy watching him had fallen asleep, so he took the chance to free himself. He pulled the gun hidden in his leg and started fighting the guy who was watching him. They had a tough fight, but Marek finally won and shot him dead. Then he went into the kitchen to see what kind of food they'd been giving him, and he was shocked by what he found. The kitchen was in a terrible state, and the truth was way worse than he imagined. They were actually feeding him the flesh of girls who had been killed here under the guise of exorcism. Meanwhile, the same priest who was really nice to Marek earlier shows up again. He tells him the truth, that Marek had been eating the flesh of 7 women who had committed the worst sins in their lives, and that they're all being fed the same flesh. Hearing this, Marek gets scared and, holding the priest at gunpoint, demands to be taken inside the church's library. The priest has no choice but to agree and shows Marek a book that talks about the church. That's when Marek learns the biggest truth. This place wasn't really a church at all. These people were part of some cult, following a book all about demons. The book said that every 800 years, a demonic child is born, marked with a special sign on their body, just like the mark Marek had. If that kid eats the flesh of 7 women who've committed horrible sins and then drinks the blood of an innocent girl, he turns into a demon. That's when his evil life truly begins. After reading all this, Marek and the guy decided, they said they'd run away from here right away. Then this guy tells Marek that he knows about a secret underground tunnel here. He tried to escape through it too, but got caught. Still, he thinks Marek's brave and believes they can get out together using that tunnel. At first, Marek didn't believe him because, after all, he was part of this chapel too. Then the guy lifts his shirt to show Marek's scars from being whipped. He says he was flogged as punishment for trying to escape. Seeing that, Marek started to believe him and decided to go along. Marek catches up to that secret tunnel while chasing him. The tunnel's super long, and they're walking through it with lamps. At the end, they come to this weird place. There's no way out, but there's this new, creepy, demonic setup. Turns out, the guy was actually there to trap Marek. His plan was to lure Marek in by acting all sympathetic. Before Marek can even think or try to get away, he's knocked out. When he wakes up, he sees a bunch of people wearing red robes. He sees that he's been hung from a tree, his hands tied tight. Now there's a cloth stuffed in his mouth too. Priest Andre and everyone else finally spilled the truth to Marek, something he never even imagined. Marek's arrival to investigate was all part of their plan. Whatever happened, whatever Marek saw, it was exactly what they wanted him to see. They say they've waited for centuries for a child with this mark on his body, born during a lunar eclipse. Because a child like that isn't human, it's a born devil. Andre says there's a well under the stone he's chained to, and that well is actually the gateway to hell they've been guarding for years. He says, we're not priests and don't believe in God. Our master is the devil, and we're his slaves. Marek's been specially chosen for them. Then they start their ritual. An innocent girl is brought in front of Marek. Her throat is cut, and cups are filled with her blood. Everyone takes a sip from the cups, one by one. After that, they shoved the blood into Marek's mouth and held it open until he swallowed. That's when Marek's transformation into a demon was supposed to begin. he'd already eaten the flesh of 7 sinful girls. Now, after drinking the blood of an innocent girl, he was supposed to turn into a terrifying monster. Everyone was waiting, chanting spells, hoping the dark powers would take over Marek fast. But when their spells ran out and they looked back, nothing had changed. Marek was just like before, bursting out laughing like a crazy guy when he saw them. He said, "What old stories are you clinging to, buddy? Has anyone ever turned into a devil like this?" Everyone else started freaking out too. Centuries of waiting, countless sacrifices, and all their hard work were about to go down the drain. And there was another huge problem. Marek was a key player. He hadn't checked in for weeks, and now they'd heard the cops had started digging into him. The police could show up any minute, and once they started digging for proof, the whole truth about their church would come out, and who knows what would happen to Marek. That's why, while going through this ritual book, they decided they'd kill Marek and then throw him into the gate of hell that's been shut for centuries. A man tricked Marek into coming, and when the ritual failed, he got super mad at Andre because now he started believing Marek, that no one just turns into a devil like that. They'd wasted their whole lives trusting this Andre. In his anger, he smothers Marek with a pillow and lies to everyone about it. So, Andre, their leader, died from drinking way too much. Meanwhile, the cult members were burning the bodies of the people they'd killed, claiming they were sacrifices to the devil. Then we see Andre again. His eyes never got closed after he died. Everyone was just staring at his death like it was some kind of show, when suddenly a crucifix flips upside down right in front of his eyes. After that, a fly lands on his body and then flies off toward the well they called the gate to hell, where they had dumped Marek. A fly buzzes into Marek's body. His lifeless body jolts, and suddenly, his eyes snap open. Now his body starts twisting in a weird way. Lots of changes are happening all over him. Big veins pop up on his face, and his whole face turns blue. But no one's noticing any of this. Now the scene switches to Andre's funeral. While the guy is speaking, suddenly, Andre's body lifts off the ground. His head bursts open, and flies pour out of it. His entire body turns into a swarm of flies and vanishes in an instant, leaving him truly dead. Then the real demon, Marek, shows up. He's fully turned into a complete demon now. Their ritual wasn't wrong. They just rushed it. When everyone sees Marek, they try to run away scared, but he hangs them upside down like an inverted crucifix. Then the scene cuts outside, where dark clouds cover the sky, making it clear that the world is doomed to be destroyed by this devil. And that's where the movie ends.